Yo, what is going on? PartTimerZack here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Aether Gazer. I kind of wanted to go over my first impressions, so I did play about 2 hours today on stream, and I kind of wanted to just talk about what I think about the overall game. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the characters. I really do think that they have like a diverse set of characters, and a lot of these characters seem like they have a lot of their own kind of right to them, and that they have their own kind of personality. Especially when you're playing them, you get a kind of an idea of essentially how they play and how they kind of maneuver throughout the map. Now, there are a couple different ways to kind of increase your character for the base level. Essentially, if you want to just level them up, you can level up their skills. You can see here, you can level up their weapons, and you can even do things like this, which is kind of an enhancement. Essentially gives you stat boosts and stuff like that to your weapons and overall character. Now, I haven't really found a character that is like my favorite yet. I feel like each one of the characters that I've been playing has been a lot of fun to kind of mess around with. I would say that she's probably closest to my favorite character, and that's mainly because I like the range kind of aspect to her and a lot of the different moves that she's able to offer. Now, I will be doing kind of more in-depth detail about each one of the characters that I have, and hopefully getting new characters as we progress through the beta. It is about 15 days, so we'll be getting a little bit more of that currency as we move through the gacha and whatnot. So talking about more of these characters, though, I wanted to just say that I feel like the characters are pretty unique, and the fact that they're able to play together is really, really cool. Something I really wanted to show you guys. If you have certain characters on your team, for example, these two, they actually can combo together whenever they're doing their ults, which I want to be showing a gameplay right now of kind of what's happening here. It is insane. When I found this out on stream, we had like such an excitement for it because it was just such a cool thing. So originally we thought it was like story based because we had seen two other characters do it, and it seemed like it was more of like a story based type of thing. But now I figured out that you're able to do it whenever you want, just to kind of based on the character that you have essentially, and when they're able to pair together. So I really think that's a really interesting kind of thing to it. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be kind of like on the fence essentially about the way that the game is played when it comes to like having each character on the field. In my experience, I've had no issues with like the other characters getting in my way or just kind of being a nuisance. I really feel like they're attacking their own enemies. They're doing stuff that helps me, like freezing enemies and just kind of like moving around and dodging a lot. It's really cool to kind of see how they interact with the enemies, and the fact that they can actually do perfect dodges themselves, which puts everybody on the team in kind of the slowdown state that you're able to do a little bit more damage. So I honestly think it's really cool. I really like the addition to having them on the team because, like, personally, I just kind of have the one and done type of thing when it comes to a lot of the units that I play. I like to just focus on the one unit that I'm playing, and I don't really like to move around a lot. So it doesn't really bug me that I can't swap off of characters while I'm during my match. It just doesn't really matter too much to me, but I understand that it's like a preference essentially for a lot of people to be able to play multiple characters, which you can definitely do at the beginning. Whenever you select your characters, you're able to kind of go in there and pick whatever character you want, but you can't rotate between the characters during the match, unfortunately, if that is something that you like. So talking about the gacha rates, I wanted to kind of briefly go over this. So you do get a 40 pull at the very beginning as far as the beta is concerned. I don't know if that's going to translate to the the whole game essentially whenever it fully releases, but you get a 40 pull for pity that gives you an S rank character, and then after that it's 80 per pity, and then there's like a point, then it's a 0.6% for S rank characters from just the normal gacha, and you do get a guaranteed A rank at every single 10 pull. Now, I know a lot of people, at least on the stream, are kind of saying that's a little steep when it comes to the gacha rates. Honestly, going back to the characters, I don't really feel that if I play a certain character, like for example her being like an A rank character, I don't feel limited that way. I don't feel like she can't do something that an S rank character can do. So honestly, I kind of get the vibe that a lot of these characters are viable, and you just have to put a little bit more time and resources into some of those B rank characters or A rank characters, but they can end up being just as good like an S rank character or anything else. Some of these characters are actually already B rank characters or A rank characters. For example, he's actually an A rank character, and you can level him up essentially from there. Going through this, you actually get some different shards and some stuff like that. So dupes in this game are very valuable, and you actually get quite a bit at the beginning, especially whenever you get the pulls and stuff like that you're doing on the gacha. Now, I don't necessarily know if you're going to get any free pulls. Essentially, we got 40 for the beta. I don't know if that's going to convert or anything like that, but I got quite a bit of characters, and I got quite a bit of them kind of level up. As you can see, a lot of these characters were actually A or B characters. She was actually a B character and got her all the way to S. So the gacha rate for some may be a little bit steep, but honestly, in my opinion, I feel like they have a wide variety of characters, and a lot of them being B and A really does make it a little bit more fleshed out, and it really feels like I can get a lot of the characters that I want and need essentially to make up a lot of good teams. Now, going over some of the game modes, they are limited on the story a little bit. I've been making my way through some of the story here. I do feel like the bosses are a lot of fun to kind of go against, especially whenever you're able to do status effects to them and stuff. You can actually freeze bosses. You can go into some different things with bosses, and they have like the shattering effect, which I think is really cool and really dynamic to the game, where you kind of go into this state, like it's called the void, and essentially you just go in and you do as much damage as you can while he's kind of like in the stun state, and then you're able to do max amount of damage. It's really fun to kind of go into that and build up to it. It gets a lot of hype, especially when you're on a boss that is doing quite a bit of damage and you're able to kind of put in the work. Essentially, they do have resources when it comes to like the stages and stuff like that you can grind. Now the cool thing that I really like is the fact that you can actually do them 2 times, meaning that if you run it through the 1 time, you actually counts as like a 2 times running the stage, so you get double the rewards. I really find that that's really cool, and it does indicate that you're eventually going to be able to do more as you kind of level up. You can see that it actually says level 40 essentially, that I'll be able to go more and more. So each time that I do a single run, it'll be counting for like 2 times or 3 times or 4 times. So it is really cool, the fact that, hey, if you want to burn through your stamina, you can, and you can be able to kind of get some rewards for it. Essentially, if you're kind of one of the people that want to kind of run through these fastest, there are other stages like the tutorial stuff that gives you premium currency. There's also character tutorials based on the characters that you have. You can't run characters that you don't have, unfortunately, but it is cool to kind of see that you're able to run these characters if you want to, get some premium currency and go from there. The other mode that I was able to unlock is like this tower thing. Honestly, it's pretty hard. I went through floor 1 pretty easily, and then floor 2 seems to be pretty steep. I think I need to level up my characters a lot more in order to kind of progress through this, but this is one of the closest things that I found to a different type of thing, because a lot of these are going to be kind of kept behind the levels essentially. So I will be kind of making an updated video whenever I get to this point and talking about one of these game modes essentially going forward. Now, overall, like I said, I really enjoy the game. I think it has a uniqueness to it. I know a lot of people are going to compare it to other games. I really kind of like caution you guys not to do that too much, because like we want these games to kind of come and we want them to be able to stand on their own feet. I know it's human nature to compare, but at the end of the day, these games are just additions to these genres, and they definitely make the space a lot more fun. They make it a lot more competitive. They make other companies have to innovate and do some different stuff. So at the end of the day, I think this is a really cool game. I think it's going to be a really fun when it comes out for CN, and I think it has a huge potential for global if the developers are able to see that market. Which, if you guys are interacting with these videos, we'll definitely let them know that, hey, there's a global market out here for you guys. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Like I said, I have videos coming up about different game modes and some different characters and stuff like that. So if you want to see a certain character, definitely let me know, and we'll cover them more fast than we're already going to do it. But anyway, guys, I will see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.